If you have $500,000 saved, everyone tells you you're ready to retire. But almost nobody tells you what that number actually pays you every month. And in 2026, that monthly number changed because Social Security changed, Medicare changed, and the rules changed with them. So before you celebrate that 500K or panic that it's not enough, stay with me. I'm going to show you the real number. Not the number your 401k app shows you, the number that actually lands in your bank account. I've broken down retirement math for 30 years, and in 2026, this math shifted in ways most people haven't caught up to yet. Meet Carol. She's 62. She just retired with exactly $500,000 saved. She thinks she knows her number. She doesn't, because the number she's using is missing 5 critical pieces. Pieces that change her monthly income by thousands of dollars, in either direction. First, the baseline. Take her 500K. Apply the 4% rule, that's $20,000 a year. $1,667 a month. That's it. That's the headline number everyone quotes. Carol looks at that number and feels her stomach drop. On paper, that's barely enough to survive. But here's what nobody told her. That number is only one piece of 5. And some of those pieces can double what she actually lives on. Stay with me through every factor. Skip one, and you'll either panic for no reason or walk into 2026 with a budget that's dead wrong. This isn't about scaring you. It's about the actual math, the kind that puts real dollars in your pocket or quietly drains them. I'm Earl. Welcome to the Real Retirement Number for 2026. Let's start with the piece almost everyone underestimates. Factor 1. Social Security. Most people think Social Security is one fixed number. It's not. It's a range, and where you land changes everything. It depends on what you earned when you start claiming, and a 2026 rule change most people haven't even heard about yet. Let me show you 3 real examples. Same retirement savings. Wildly different outcomes. First, low earner Larry. Spent his career in retail, averaged $30,000 a year. His Social Security at 67, $1,400 a month. Add that to his portfolio withdrawal. Larry's at $3,067 a month. Next, average earner Amy. Solid middle-class career, $60,000 a year. Her benefit, $1,907 a month. Combined total, $3,574. Finally, high earner Henry. Engineer. Maxed his Social Security taxes most years. His benefit alone, $3,200 a month. Combined total, $4,867. Same $500,000 saved. A $22,000 a year gap between Larry and Henry. That's a car payment every year, or healthcare costs fully covered with money left over. And here's the 2026 twist almost nobody talks about. Full retirement age is now 67 for anyone born 1960 or later. That threshold finished phasing in this year. Claim at 62 instead of 67, and your check drops by roughly 30%. Permanently. For life. That's not a penalty that fades. That's every single check, every month, for the rest of your retirement. There's also a 2026 cost of living raise, 2.8%. Sounds like good news. Except Medicare Part B premiums rose too. For a lot of retirees, that raise gets eaten before it even hits the bank account. You get a bigger number on paper. Your real spending power barely moves. Here's the counter move. Never guess your benefit. Go check the real one. Go to ssa.gov. Create your account. See your benefit at 62, at full retirement age, and at 70. Takes 5 minutes. Do it today, because this one number changes everything else we're about to cover. Factor 2. Location. Where you live isn't a lifestyle choice. In retirement, It's the single biggest swing factor there is. Same income, two completely different realities. Let me show you with real numbers. Meet Susan. She stays in New York City to be near her daughter. Understandable, expensive. On that $3,574 a month, rent in Queens alone is $2,400. Utilities, groceries, a Metro card, health insurance before Medicare. Added up, $33.82. That leaves Susan $192 for everything else. One dental emergency, and she's pulling from savings. She walks into her local grocery store, watches the total climb past $400, and quietly puts one item back. Now meet Karen. Same exact income. She moved to Knoxville, Tennessee. Two-bedroom apartment, $1,100. Utilities, groceries, a car payment, health insurance. Total, $2,270. Karen has $1,300 left over. Every single month. For dining out, travel, her grandkids. The gap between Susan and Karen. $13,000 a year. Over 30 years, that's nearly $400,000. That's almost as much as their entire original nest egg. From a zip code. I'm not saying uproot your life. Family matters more than a spreadsheet. But know exactly what that choice costs you. The counter move here isn't move to Tennessee. It's run the real numbers for your city before you sign a lease. Compare rent, groceries, transportation, and healthcare side by side. Not vibes, numbers. Factor 3. Healthcare. This is where most retirement plans quietly fall apart. Not because people don't plan for it, because they drastically underestimate the real number. Retire at 60 before Medicare kicks in, and you're buying private insurance for 5 full years. Average premium for a 60-year-old, $950 a month, plus a $7,000 deductible. Hit that deductible in year 1, and you've spent $18,400 on health care alone. That's nearly your entire $20,000 portfolio withdrawal for the year. Gone. 5 years of that, before Medicare arrives, runs over $90,000. Minimum. Even at 65, when Medicare starts, you're not done paying. Part B, Part D, a supplement, dental, vision. All in, roughly $535 a month. $6,400 a year. Here's the number that should scare you more than any market crash. Fidelity says the average couple retiring at 65 needs over $300,000 for health care alone. Separate from living expenses. If you've got $500K, mentally set aside $315,000 for health care. That leaves $185,000 for everything else. Over 30 years. This is why retiring at 65 instead of 60 isn't just a preference. It's a $90,000 decision. The counter move. Price your health care gap before you pick a retirement date. Not after. 5 years earlier might feel free. It can quietly cost you 6 figures. Factor 4. Inflation and investing. Your expenses rise every year. Your savings don't follow automatically. That $35.74 a month budget at 3% average inflation. In 10 years, you need $4,800 to buy the same things. In 20 years, $64.54. In 30 years, $86.77 a month. Today's $400 grocery bill becomes $722. In 20 years, this is why parking everything in a savings account earning 1% is financial suicide. Quiet, slow, but real. Most advisors suggest 60% stocks, 35% bonds when you first retire, shifting more conservative with age. Why? Historically, stocks averaged roughly 10% a year. Bonds, about 5%. Inflation, about 3%. All bonds at 5%. Inflation eating 3%. You're really only gaining 2%. A balanced mix nets you closer to 4%. Over 30 years, that gap is enormous. A 2% real return turns 500K into roughly 900,000. A 4% real return turns it into 1.6 million. Same starting point. Different math. But there's a real risk here. Retire right before a crash, sell stocks while they're down, and you can permanently damage your portfolio. It's called sequence of returns risk, and it's exactly as dangerous as it sounds. The counter move, a cash bucket. 2 to 3 years of expenses kept safe, untouched by market mood swings. Market crashes, you spend from that bucket. Your invested money stays untouched, waiting to recover. You refill the bucket during good years. It's not exciting. It's just the math that protects you. Factor 5. Debt. This is the factor that can undo every other factor we just covered. 2 people, same 500,000 saved. Completely different outcomes. Meet debt-free Diana. Home paid off. No car payment. No credit card balance. Monthly expenses, $2,800. Her income, $3,574. She's got $774 left every month. Now meet debt-loaded Dan. Same income. He still owes on his mortgage, his car, his cards. His monthly expenses, $4,750. His income, $3,574. He's short, $1,176. Every month. That's over $14,000 a year, pulled straight from his principal. At that rate, Dan's 500K is gone in 17 years. He'll be 82 with nothing left but Social Security. Diana, at the same age, is still building wealth. The counter move. Attack high-interest debt before you retire, not during. Every payment after retirement comes straight out of a number that no longer refills. So can you actually retire on $500,000? Here's the honest answer. Debt-free, strategic about location, health care planned, decent Social Security. Yes, absolutely. Carrying debt, locked into an expensive city, retiring too early, low benefits? Probably not. Not without real changes. Most people don't fail retirement because they saved too little. They fail because they planned too vaguely. The median retirement savings for Americans 65 to 74 is $200,000. If you've got 500K, you're already ahead of most of the country. The real question isn't, is it enough? It's enough for what? Your retirement isn't one number on a 401K statement. It's 5 decisions made on purpose. Let's go back to Carol. Remember her? Panicking over $1,667 a month. She didn't need more money. She needed the other 4 factors. Carol sits down at her kitchen table with her laptop, opens SSA.gov, and finally checks her real number for the first time. Her benefit at 62 is one number. Her benefit at 67 is hundreds more. Every single month for life. She decides to wait 2 extra years to claim. Her future check jumps significantly because of it. Next, she looks honestly at her cost of living. Her current apartment is comfortable, but her sister's town is a third cheaper. She doesn't move for a bigger place. She moves for breathing room in her monthly budget. Carol calls her insurance agent and prices out her real health care gap, years before she touches her portfolio for anything else. She finds out exactly what those 5 years before Medicare will cost her, in writing, not in guesswork. She opens a separate savings account and labels it, in plain letters, 2-year cash bucket. 2 years of real expenses, sitting safe, completely untouched by whatever the market does next. And she makes her last car payment 3 months before her final paycheck. Not after. One by one, she closes the gaps nobody warned her about. Same $500,000 Carol started with. A completely different retirement. Not because the number changed, because she finally saw all 5 pieces of it. She sits on her porch, coffee in hand, and for the first time since she retired, The math actually feels calm. So here's your homework. And I want you to actually do this, not just nod along. Tonight, log into ssa.gov and check your real number. Not an estimate, the actual one with your name on it. This week, write down your actual monthly expenses. Every single one, not your guess. The real total. This month, price out your health care gap, whatever age you plan to retire. This year, build your cash bucket, even if it starts small. Even 1 month of expenses is a start. And if you're carrying debt into retirement, make a plan to kill the worst of it first. Before, not during. $500,000 can fund a quiet, comfortable life. Or it can run out by 82. The difference was never the money. It's whether you did the math or just hoped for the best. Every other channel gives you one number and moves on. That's not enough. Not for your retirement. Real retirement math has 5 moving parts, and missing even one of them changes your outcome by tens of thousands of dollars. That's why I walked through every single one with you today. Not the easy version, the real one. If this gave you clarity on your number, you know what to do. Hit that like button. If you realized you need to make a change, drop it in the comments. Tell me which factor you're tackling first. I read as many of those as I can, and some of the best questions become their own video. Subscribe, and I'll keep showing you the real math behind retirement. No fluff, no fear-mongering, just numbers. Because in 2026, the rules changed. Social Security shifted. Medicare costs shifted. And the people who come out ahead aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones who actually sat down and read the new rules. $500,000 isn't a verdict on your retirement. It's a starting point. What you do with the 5 factors is what actually decides how the next 30 years feel. Carol didn't get richer. She got clearer. There's a difference, and it's worth everything. So take the homework seriously. 5 small steps now save you from one very large regret later. If this showed you something you didn't know was there, hit like. It's free, and it helps the next guy. Subscribe. Every week we break down the hidden math behind real money decisions. I'm Earl. Negotiate the total, protect your retirement, and I'll see you in the next one.